my fellow citizens and residents of Antigua and Barbuda. On this glorious occasion of our nation's 43rd independence, we have good reason for a deep sense of pride and gratitude. Today, we not only celebrate our independence, but we also reaffirm our commitment to the principles that have brought us this far: resilience, belief in our worth as a people, and faith in our capacity to succeed. As the Apostle Paul said, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And neither we nor the generations before us ever gave up. Over the years, we have shown the world, and indeed the elements, that we, the people of Antigua and Barbuda, possess an indomitable spirit. In the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, a disaster that crippled many economies and devastated lives across the globe, we stood firm. Through swift, decisive action and careful management, we saved lives and safeguarded livelihoods. While other nations faltered, we reopened our economy quickly and effectively, experiencing a recovery faster than most. Our economy grew by 7.8% in 2023, second only to Guyana in the region, and our 2024 performance will be similar, evidencing that we continue to lead in recovery and resilience. This was possible because we worked together with faith and determination. Undoubtedly, there have been political bickering and the usual political claims that sought to divide our communities. But our society as a people remained faithful to our common goals of uplifting our nation and strengthening it to meet every challenge. But even as we celebrate our achievements, we know that there is still much work to be done. 10 years ago, we inherited an outdated socioeconomic infrastructure in which our schools and other public buildings, roads, curbs and drains, water systems, electricity grid, and internet broadband services were in decay. We faced unsustainable debt, economic contraction, high rates of crime, unemployment, poverty, and even bank failure. But we steadfastly addressed each of these problems and worked diligently to resolve them. That task is not yet over, but you know from your own lived experience that the situation has dramatically improved. And as I've always implored you, let's give thanks for our achievements to date, no matter how small. Employment has increased to the point where we have a shortage of labor in crucial areas of our economy, include construction, the hotel sector, and some other areas, further increasing our dependence on imported labor. Access to education at all levels and the provision of health care services have greatly progressed and are advancing every year. Commencing in 2025, we will spend $200 million to expand the UE5 Islands campus, which currently hosts over 1,000 students, to provide even more opportunities for higher education, ensuring that every young person has the tools they need to contribute to our nation's future. This is in addition to the $20 million investment in the Antigua and Barbuda Institute of Continuing Education, the Harrison Center, that is now providing vocational training for over 800 Antiguans and Barbudans. We have expanded healthcare services to include kidney transplants and hip replacements. The construction of the cardiac center and the renal unit for advanced dialysis care should be completed in 2025, further advancing our healthcare delivery. In addition, the cancer center will be retrofitted and re-equipped with modern equipment to enhance the delivery of cancer treatment and is projected to recommence operations in the first quarter of 2025. With the establishment of a 40-megawatt liquid natural gas electricity plant early this year, the delivery of electricity has been better than at any other time in the history of our nation. Delivery of water, though challenging because of the persistent droughts, it continues to improve with the expansion and upgrade of our water distribution system. We have expanded the water production capacity from 3 million gallons per day to approximately 8.5 million per day, and this is projected to increase to 12 million gallons per day in 2025, thereby satisfying the full water demand of our population. Our roads remain a challenge, not because we have neglected them, but because they were ignored for far too long, and unusual extreme weather events have taken a harsh toll on our roads. Nonetheless, we continue to pay focused attention on our main arteries and have recently purchased $21 million of heavy equipment to accelerate the reconstruction of our roads, especially our community roads. Because we are a small island, our society imports most of the commodities we need, including food products. In recent years, particularly as costs have risen globally, we have been importing the increased costs of our major trading partners, and in turn, this has raised prices for all of us. Fortunately, we are beginning to enjoy a stabilization in prices, which had previously galloped to 6% earlier this year. As a caring administration, we did not wait for this imported inflation to fall to address this problem, but increased the wages and salaries and pensions of public servants, even in difficult financial circumstances. By doing so, we eased the pressure of imported inflationary costs. We also gave an example to the private sector to share its profits with the consumer by curtailing the extent of profit margins. We did so on the basis that the private sector will sustain itself and prosper. If it maintains a large and steady clientele, it will certainly prosper. If prices push purchases out of the market, then clearly the private sector will quickly decline. Further, we hope that the entire private sector would follow the government's example by improving wages and salaries, rewarding their staff for productivity, and encouraging them to help enlarge businesses and improve service to the society as a whole. Our collective success depends on more than just government's action. It requires the effort of every citizen, every business, and every worker to contribute to a more productive and thriving society. We should draw inspiration from small nations like Singapore and South Korea, places that, despite their size, have achieved extraordinary economic progress through dedication, discipline, and a shared vision for the future. Like these nations, Antigua and Barbuda can rise to new heights, not by relying exclusively on external support, but by harnessing the potential within our own borders. When we work together to improve productivity, when businesses reward hard work and invest in their people, and when each of us take responsibility for our role in the economy, we strengthen not just our prosperity, but our independence. The challenges we face are not insurmountable. With unity, determination, and a shared commitment to excellence, Antigua and Barbuda will not only survive, but we will certainly thrive. My dear people, the future of Antigua and Barbuda is bright if we seize the opportunities as a caring nation. Several transformative projects are on the way and are reshaping our economy and providing unprecedented opportunities for all our citizens. On Barbuda, we have witnessed incredible progress. From the devastation of Hurricane Irma 7 years ago, Barbuda has been reborn like a phoenix from the ashes, with new energy and exciting prospects for its sustained advancement. The modern international airport has opened Barbuda to international tourism through projects like the Peace, Love and Happiness PLH Resort, the Luxury Nobu Resort by Robert De Niro, and the Rosewood Luxury Hotel by Murby Limited, creating hundreds of jobs directly and indirectly. These initiatives are putting Barbuda on the map as one of the world's premier luxury destinations, giving opportunities for growth and development to all who inhabit the island. On Antigua, there are several luxury resorts to be constructed, including the recently launched US $400 million Nikki Beach Resort and Residences, the one and only hotel at Half Moon Bay, and the luxury Marriott at the Upton's Beach, which will commence construction next month. Our government has embarked on the construction of thousands of affordable homes using eco-friendly, energy-efficient material. These homes will not only provide security and comfort for our people, their construction will also generate employment and stimulate the economy. Resorts such as Royalton Chic on Dickinson Bay, which add to our stock of luxury resorts, are bringing expanded tourism benefits, including employment and new investment in supply companies. With regard to crime, despite the occurrence of random acts of violent robberies a few months ago, Antigua and Barbuda continues to have one of the lowest crime rates in the region and the hemisphere. We are determined to take the fight to the criminals until they get the message and reform their ways. Our message is simply, crime and violence will not pay, and those who engage in crime and violence will certainly pay. Our goal is to eradicate all crime so that our homes, businesses, schools, and streets are safe. Our people must not only feel safe, they must be safe. In this regard, I commend our law enforcement agencies, particularly the police, for their proactive leadership in significantly reducing crime and violence by apprehending and putting the criminals behind bars. We will continue to be tough on crime. At the same time, I encourage those involved in criminal activities to seek alternatives. There are ample employment opportunities in sectors such as construction and hospitality, so there is no justification to rob and kill. Antigua and Barbuda offers work, and there are better, certainly legal ways to provide for yourself and your families. My fellow citizens, as we continue on this journey to modernize Antigua and Barbuda, we must present our nation to the world as a place of investment, beauty, and dynamism. In doing so, we cannot afford to tolerate decrepit buildings and abandoned lands overgrown with unsightly bush in our communities. This is not the Antigua and Barbuda we envision for ourselves or for future generations. To address this, my government will take decisive action. We will confront the issue of derelict properties and unsightly parcels of land in built-up areas. Property owners will be held accountable for the maintenance of their land, and if neglected, the cost of maintenance will become a charge against the property. Also, our government will exercise the power of sale at public auction for derelict properties where property taxes and other charges on the land remain unpaid for an extended period. We will also tackle indiscriminate dumping, indiscriminate littering, and unregulated vending in public spaces. Our government will enforce existing laws and strengthen regulations to ensure that our country remains clean and orderly. But this task is not for the government alone. All of us, every citizen, business owner, and community member, have a role to play in preserving the beauty of our nation. I implore everyone to exercise greater discipline and to take pride in keeping our country clean and pristine. Whether it is on our streets, on our beaches, in our marketplaces, let us take ownership of our land and preserve it for the generations to come. This is our country, our home, our place. Let us display it not with shame, but with pride, not with apology, but with joy. We should all want to live in a country about which we can boast. Let us show the world that Antigua and Barbuda is not only beautiful in its natural landscape, but also well looked after by its people. In this connection, I want to encourage the greening and beautification of our beloved country. Let us come together as a government, private sector, schools, neighborhoods, and make it our collective ambition to plant 100,000 trees annually. If we achieve this goal, one year or each year after another, we will not only beautify our island, but also contribute immensely to the climate resilience of our nation. These trees will help encourage rainfall, absorb CO2 emissions, and support our fight against climate change. Let us be a model nation of cleanliness, sustainability, and beauty, an example for others to follow. My sisters and brothers, ours is a young nation in the global community of nations. Today, we're only 43 years old, while the majority of countries have been controlling the world's economic, financial, and political systems for hundreds of years. We emerged as an independent nation into a world where our interests were marginal to their concerns and our rights were neglected. From the outset, we determined that we would carve a place of respect in the international community by taking proactive stance on issues critical to our well-being and survival. At times, we marched out on our own, convinced that standing up for justice, equity, and what is right was far better than staying silent or accepting the dictates of others. On other occasions, we took initiatives to create or strengthen alliances. That is how we helped to form the CARICOM community and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. How we built the Alliance of Small Island Developing States, AOSIS, and how we initiated the Commission of Small Island States on International Law, COSIS. Today, Antigua and Barbuda is recognized globally as a leader in advocating for the rights of small states, particularly in safeguarding our civilizations against the catastrophic effects of climate change. We've also become a trusted voice within the Organization of American States, the OAS, where we have presided over the group for an unprecedented 3 terms and continue to lead initiatives that advance the interests of the poor and vulnerable. We have emerged as a voice for the voiceless, championing the causes of those who face challenges with limited resources. We are actively contributing to new standards for establishing a nation's vulnerability and securing concessional financing for those most in need, an effort encapsulated in the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index, stemming from a UN committee I was honored to chair. We operate on principles of justice and support for rightful causes. In the words of Maya Angelou, and I quote, "We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. It may even be necessary to encounter the defeat so we can know who we are and rise from it." End of quote. As a nation, we may face obstacles, but with every step we take together, we rise stronger and more united. Antigua and Barbuda is leveraging its leadership role to build a new future as an international convention center. This vision is why we hosted the UN SIDS4 conference this year, in 2024, and why we will host the OAS 55th General Assembly next year, that is next June in 2025, as well as the Caribbean Tourism Association Convention next May. And we also hope that in 2026, we will host the Commonwealth Heads of Government Conference. The fact that Antigua and Barbuda is the first microstate, a country with less than 100,000 people, that has been judged by the 32 nations of the OAS and the 56 member states of the Commonwealth as capable not only to host their leadership meetings, but also to chair and guide their deliberations, is a testimony to the significant respect that we have achieved. All in our nation have cause for pride, for satisfaction, and certainly for delight. Establishing Antigua and Barbuda as a hub for major intergovernmental conferences will also attract multinational companies to host conventions here. This, in turn, will diversify our tourism offerings, extend our hospitality sector to year-round employment, and put more money in the pockets of our people. My sisters and brothers, we're aligning our foreign policy to meet our domestic aspirations for the benefit of all of our people. Together, with courage in our hearts and action in our hands, Antigua and Barbuda will rise ever higher. My sisters and brothers, I now recall the words of the father of the nation, Surveyor Cornwall Bird Sr., who 43 years ago, on November 1st, 1981, addressed the youth of our country as the flag of our independent and sovereign nation was raised for the first time. He said, and I quote, "This independence and the benefits which will be its bounty are your inheritance. You have been given what generations of your forefathers struggled and suffered to achieve. I ask you to cherish it, and to cherish it not only with words, but with action. You are the future of Antigua and Barbuda, and if that future is to be prosperous, if it is to be meaningful, much will depend on you. The future calls for discipline and dedication. There is no real, more noble, no task more rewarding than to work for your own country's development. End of quote. These words should continue to reverberate among our youth in shaping their aspirations and ambitions for this, our beloved country. I hope that by recalling the words of encouragement from Severe, they would help to summon the better angels of all our people, especially our youth, to greater productivity. We must understand that the freedom and rights we enjoy today are a sacred trust, a trust that we all have an obligation to protect and advance. If we betray that trust through lawlessness, criminality, or by neglecting to care for our communities, those rights and freedoms could quickly disappear, as we have seen in places where gangs rule, the law is ignored, and fear prevails. That must never happen in our beloved Antigua and Barbuda, where for generations our forefathers strived, struggled, and fought to give us a better life. I take this opportunity to thank the many young men and women who have turned away from gang life and embraced the second chances we have offered them. They are living proof that no one is beyond redemption, and that with the right support, we can all change the trajectory of our lives. To our youth, I say there is a better path. Engage in wholesome activities, whether through sports, music, or the creative arts, and resolve your conflicts peacefully. Violence is never the answer. We must replace anger and aggression with understanding and respect. Ours must be a society where our differences are resolved through dialogue, not with knives and guns. There are ample opportunities for upskilling and reskilling through programs offered by ABIS. For those who dream of earning a degree, UE5 Islands provides a world-class education, and scholarships to study abroad are also available to those who seek further horizons. Even those without CXCs are not left behind. Through our YEEP, or Second Chance program, you can obtain the qualifications you need to matriculate into UE and other tertiary institutions. These initiatives are part of our unwavering investment in our people, building the socioeconomic infrastructure that will uplift every citizen and provide the tools for a better life. We've also gone beyond the call of duty to empower our people. Our administration has incentivized car, home, land, and business ownership, giving more Antiguans and Barbudans the opportunity to build wealth and security. These measures are not just about economic growth, they're about empowerment, ensuring that our citizens have the means and opportunities to contribute meaningfully to our society. Parents play a critical role in shaping the destiny of our children, and therefore our nation's future. I urge all parents to instill sound moral values and ethics in our children. Let us teach them to respect one another, to cherish discipline, and to take pride in their actions. Together, we can build a society where our youth are responsible, compassionate, and productive citizens. So, my fellow citizens and residents, as we celebrate our independence, I urge each of you to take pride in the progress we have made and to embrace the responsibility that comes with freedom. Whether you are in Antigua or Barbuda, whether you are a student, a business owner, or a member of our diaspora, you have a role to play in shaping the future of our beloved country. Let's commit to protect our environment, lift up our communities, and build an Antigua and Barbuda that stands as a beacon of hope, progress, and unity in the Caribbean and the world. Let's continue to climb the ladder of success. With faith, discipline, and hard work, we will continue to rise. May God continue to bless our nation, and may we continue to walk in the path of progress and prosperity. Thank you, and happy independence.